Hi, everybody. I'm here to talk about water. And what would it look like if we loved water? Like, really loved water. Water is something that's all around us every day. Think about your relationship with water. Think about the weddings that you've been to that have been associated with water, the role water plays in your spiritual life, kisses you've shared next to water, memories as a kid playing in water. So if water is so important to both our soul and our bodies, why do we make it so easy to forget where water comes from? So think about this Thanksgiving. You opened up your faucet, you poured a glass of water, you filled a pot to cook some vegetables, you ate dinner, you cleaned dishes. Super easy, right? There was about 1 million acts of love that made all of that possible. That water fell on forests that were well managed, just like Matt Donegan was just talking about. It went into reservoirs, went down to pipes into your house, and was made clean again. All of that happened because we've chosen to care about water. But water is something that's easy to take for granted. But not everybody is. If you look at a survey of Global 500 companies, 68% have identified water as an important risk to their business. So I want you to take just a second and think about your fondest memory relative to water. Go ahead, think about it for just a second. And I'll tell you my story, which is the time that I was sure I was going to marry Vanessa. She's my wife now. This is a picture up here. We were at the headwaters of the Feather River. And for folks who know the Feather River, it's the watershed that kind of feeds the Central Valley in California and goes on to feed all those thirsty Southern Californians. And it was the first job out of college. It was a town of about 300 people in the northern Sierras, and Vanessa and I were driving up from LA. We stopped in Napa and got a really nice bottle of Chardonnay and totally blew our budget for the week. And so we had a camping trip where we lived for 3 days on peanut butter and jelly, Pop-Tarts, tangerines, and that really nice bottle of Chardonnay. And all around us there was water. Water in the reservoirs, water in the stream, and I give that water a lot of credit for helping us fall even more deeply in love. Now, I don't know if Vanessa thinks about that memory the same way that I do, but it's an important piece for me. And again, I mentioned those Global 500 companies that have identified water as a significant risk. We're overdue for paying more attention to water, because Oregon's facing 4 major water challenges, and I'm going to go through each one of those 4. Challenge number 1 is the Great Oregon Water Myth. I'm not wearing this raincoat here on accident. We love to talk about how much it rains, but the truth is, that's not true in a lot of parts of Oregon. That's not true in a lot of months out of the year. That Oregon's always been a place where there's been water scarcity, and in fact, in the 1800s, we formed a system of water rights to manage that scarcity, and it makes it really clear who can use water, but it also makes it really hard to accommodate different kinds of uses. The picture behind me is Detroit Lake in 2015, almost running dry. That's on the wet side of the mountains. Challenge number 2. The last time we had a collective significant investment in water infrastructure was when Phil Knight was making Nike shoes with a waffle iron. When we built our canals in the 1950s and our treatment plants in the 1970s, they were only supposed to last for 40 years. And our water infrastructure providers are doing a great job holding all that stuff together, but it's estimated that nationally we need $1 trillion investment just to meet our existing water demands. And if we wait, in 5 years, that number is going to double. In Oregon, it's estimated that we need billions of dollars of investment just to upgrade our leaky drinking water systems and our wastewater treatment plants. So challenge number 3. That you can't rely just on local government and local ratepayers to fill that gap I just identified. Back in the 70s, the federal share of water infrastructure funding was about 60%. Today, that's less than 10%. We stopped talking about water, we let it be invisible, and as a result, everybody left the party but the locals. And also as a result, you had the local government share of investment in water infrastructure went from $45 per person per year to $100 per person per year. And that water affordability issue is a justice issue. That if you look at low-income families across Oregon, water bills are a significant source of anxiety. That in fact, there's 78 census tracts in Oregon where households earning $32,000 or less a year are at a significant risk of not being able to afford to pay for water. So challenge number 4. Everything I just talked about is deferred maintenance. You add on that layer on top of that of climate change, and everything gets more significant in terms of the challenges that we're facing. By 2080, the projection is that all of our mountains will be rain dominant except for a small part of the Blue Mountains. That means we're going to have 50% less water stored as snowpack by 2080 than we do today. The picture that you see behind me is Mount Hood in the mid-1980s and Mount Hood today in the summertime in terms of water that's stored as snow. It's also going to mean more rain on snow events, which is going to increase flood frequency and increase stream temperatures. But here's the thing about love. It takes work, it takes investment, and it's never too late. Oregon, we're going to have to deal with tension. We're going to have to take good and bad. We are not going to agree on everything related to water. That's cool. We don't need to. Take flooding, for instance. In 1996, Willamette floods knocked down houses and businesses. In 1949, the Vanport flood left 17,000 homeless, destroyed a town, and killed 39 people. Floods are going to continue happening, and we need to think about how we're going to react to that. We're going to need to talk about restoring and building levees. We're going to need to talk about giving rivers the room that they need to be able to flood and function as they do. All of those things can happen. We need both. And the thing is, there's a lot of people around Oregon that are showing how they love water. We just need to scale that up. So for example, and the Tualatin River kind of flows through Washington County. In 1959, the Tualatin River could flow through your legs. So this is Henry Hagg with the river flowing through his legs in 1959. That led to a building moratorium in the 1970s that kind of shut down building in Washington County. But you had business and government coming together to form a united sewerage agency and to think about how you can have water security. And as a result, in Washington County, you have some of the most advanced wastewater treatment in the country, so clean that you're actually making beer from it. Check it out, #purewaterbrew. You also have investment in river restoration and other collective work that's kept rates affordable and has provided a level of water security that the Westside Economic Alliance credits with driving the economic engine in Washington County. And there's other people around Oregon that are doing really cool stuff. Just like we're not making Nike shoes with waffle irons anymore, you have a lot of innovation that's happening. So in the city of Prineville, you had sewer rates that were too high. It was making it really hard to attract business. So the city of Prineville partnered with a number of other folks and restored a wetland that treats wastewater and brought those sewer development charges down significantly to where they could attract new business. It also provides miles of hiking trails and an asset for the community. There's irrigation districts across Oregon who've modernized over 570 miles of canals that saved water and included hydropower generation and creating renewable energy. In 2011, we recognized that our tribal members consume a lot more fish and needed stronger human health protection, so we upgraded water quality standards. All of these innovations are happening, and if we can make even more of them, we stand to gain a lot. That for every $1 million we spend on water infrastructure, we generate about 15 to 18 jobs, and that those jobs are really good paying jobs. So my hope for all of us today, if we love water, like really love water, I'm going to ask you to do two things. One is right now, feel free to take out your phone. I want you to schedule 20 minutes to map out how your life is connected to water. How is your business connected to water? How is your home connected to water? How is where you play connected to water? And then share that conversation with one other person that you love. Feel free to use the hashtags that we've put up here. #really love water and water can't wait. Because if all of us can love water, here's what I think can happen. The governor has released a 100-year water vision that calls for a significant and ongoing investment in water infrastructure. I think we can also look at how the legislature can think about new and innovative ways to significantly fund water infrastructure. We're going to consume about 230 gallons of water, beer, and wine today. So as you're having that beer and wine at the reception, have a conversation about how you love water. Don't let that water be invisible. That for me, I want my daughters, my granddaughters, to be able to dip their toes in the headwaters of the Wallowa, the Willamette, the Rogue, the Deschutes, and with their Pop-Tarts and wine, I want them to be able to fall in love and realize that we as Oregonians have made a choice to invest in the legacy of water for this state. So thank you very much. And today I started with a love story, but I love to geek out on water. So come join us this afternoon. We'll have a breakout session on water. My phone is always open, door is always open, so thank you again very, very much.